Did you ever listen to the gospel and hear a saying of Jesus that you just think does not apply to you? So for instance, when you're in church and you hear Jesus saying, "Go and sell all your possessions and give your money to the poor," do you not spend a moment and think, "Whoa, all of my possessions"? Nope. These sayings of Jesus fall into the category of what is known as the hard sayings of Jesus. But I wonder if you might give a thought to, what about the easy sayings of Jesus? You ever think that these easy sayings apply to you? So let's just take a moment here. Why don't you settle in and close your eyes. Go into yourself here for a moment. I want to see if you can imagine the face of Christ right in front of you. Look right into his eyes. Now look at his eyes looking at you. He is speaking to you personally. You are the light of the world. A city built on a hill cannot be hid. No one, after lighting a lamp, puts it under the bushel basket, but on the lampstand, and it gives light to all in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father in heaven. Now think about the first time you saw yourself in the mirror this morning. What did you look like? And did you say to yourself, "Aha, behold, the light of the world"? You can open your eyes, or else you can just close them and stay asleep and pretend you're meditating. It may sound completely outlandish, but Jesus intends us to be the light of the world. And it may sound completely outlandish, but he intends this church to be that city on the hill, though in this case it's the church on the ridge. We are to let our light so shine. We are to burn with bell tower brightness. Have you ever seen the bell tower on a stormy night? Darkness and these ominous clouds, and rain batters away and winds blow through the tower. And while all that is happening, it is clearly a tower of power, right? That light, it pierces the darkness, it lights up the darkness, and it is undimmed and it is undaunted. It is a powerful sight to see, and I want you to know that is exactly what your parish is like. We are like that bell tower, right? The parish, because you are the parish, we have buildings, but you are the parish. You are a tower of power. You are bell tower strong, and you are bell tower bright, undimmed and undaunted. So, as you may know, it is stormy weather out there for churches. All of the research shows such. But I'm just going to give you good news about the good news. And you are the good news, right? You are the light of the world. So here it is. At a time when so many churches are shrinking, across the board, the Baptists lost 1 million members, and the Diocese of Connecticut 2 years ago shrunk 3%. St. Mark's is growing. At a time when churches across the board are all getting older, St. Mark's is getting palpably younger. at a time when churches have decreasing average Sunday attendance across the board and across all denominations. We have increasing average Sunday attendance, and at a time when the average church school size, average church school attendance is shrinking because our children are all preparing to be professional hockey players, our average church school Sunday attendance is increasing. And at a time when so many churches are weakened by lack of financial resources, we are growing and are strengthened by our financial resources. This is good news. You are the good news, right? Because you are the parish. So I'm just going to give you a snapshot here to say that the financial narrative, for instance, is shockingly God-given good. So we not only balance the budget for the 9th year in a row, but we have an operating surplus. And I am sure that it is because of the 4 Gs, and the 4 Gs are assuredly the grace of God. For without the grace of God, none of us would give a nickel. It is also, secondly, by generosity. I will just tell you, it is shockingly beautiful how generous you all are with your parish. I mean, I feel a bolt of energy. It just actually ran up my legs and through the top of my backbone by your giving of yourselves to this parish. It is amazingly beautiful and shockingly beautiful. And the 3rd G is great work. I can tell you that there is incredible work done at the parish and by the parish in raising up funds for the ministry to empower us and also to control our expenses. Kathleen Corbett, the treasurer, is going to show a slide in a little bit about all of the resources and people who touch and manage our money. It's a most beautiful thing. And the 4th G is good fortune. And by good fortune, I mean that last year in the winter it was warm and we didn't spend as much money on, heating fuel as we have in the past. So, during the past 14 months, there has been a massive improvement in our financial strength, and we have moved from funding by fear of the deficit to funding to fulfill our mission. And that categorical move has released an energy in the system which is completely palpable. Okay? Last year, we didn't put oil in the tank in December for fear that we wouldn't have enough money. We'd throw the balanced budget off. This year, we put oil in the tank and we made repairs. Now, moreover, the stewardship picture for 2018 is also shockingly God-given and good. At the annual meeting last year, we had 215 pledges. This year, we have 306 pledges. Nearly 1 in 5 of those pledges is new to our pledging rolls. And that means members who hadn't pledged before are now pledging, and it includes many, many new members. The amount pledged at this point versus last year is up over $300,000. And in addition to that, as you, I hope, remember, we received at the end of the year last year $250,000 gifts in order to empower us to properly staff the clergy for the size of our congregation. Now, I hope that you will stay for the annual meeting when Dean Davis, the senior warden, and Kathleen Corbett, our treasurer, and Eric Tunham, one of the co-chairs of our stewardship committee, are going to lay out this in greater detail. But I can tell you that this God-given gracious generosity has created a momentum in our parish which is just thrilling. It's just fantastic. We have moved from spending so much time raising money to moved to doing the ministry that we're all called to do. Now, this is all great. But did you ever have a sense that our parish is still, our light is still a little bit under the bushel basket? That there's more that we can be or do? So, can you look on the reredos to see if I can get that? You see, everybody see where the cross is? Boy, I'm not so good at pointing here. Go down from the cross and take a right, and there you will see a light with a bushel basket over it. Everybody got that? The pointer doesn't work, or I don't work. So, That is how I think of, okay, so I can still see you're looking. Good luck. You can spend the rest of the time looking for it. That is what I think of the parish. I think we have a beautiful burning light, but the bushel basket is not all the way off the top. There are so many people that would love to know about our community in Christ, that have great need for such a thing, and yet they do not know that we exist at all. And we are trying to take the bushel basket off our light. This service is being streamed right now, and there are around 30 people watching the stream. And so we are trying to take that bushel basket off, but most assuredly there is much more. Okay, now what about you? Take a look at yourself here for a moment. Did you ever have the sense that there is more out there, or more in there, depending on how you might think about it? Did you ever have the idea that there is a more amazing grace experience for you, that you can see that others have it, but somehow it has eluded you? And perhaps you may say, wow, I was on fire, but my spiritual light has dimmed. So I'm just saying that now is the time for us to take the bushel basket off our light, and now is the time for you to be more spiritually vital. So as many of you saw on the email that went out on Friday, I would like with this annual meeting to begin something that I am calling the Spiritual Vitality Initiative. Now, the Spiritual Vitality Initiative did not drop out of the sky. It started off with plans for a strategic plan with Kathleen Corbett and Brian Hetherington as the co-chairs, and in time we added Steve Wyckoff and Linda Andros and Mark Thorsheim to a steering committee, a group that I call the Team of Five, and there were many discussions with the vestry, and many of the leaders of the ministries came together. Those of you know them as the Orange People, and discussed the possibility of a strategic plan. And the feedback from all of this, the discernment from all this, was really amazingly beautiful. But there was one Chinese torture drip drop that came from Steve Wyckoff, and it got to the core question, what do you want? What do you want? This is a Jesus question, by the way. What do you want? I spent a lot of time with that question. What do I want? I finally figured it out. I want you and everyone who comes in our door and everybody who joins us by streaming to experience enhanced spiritual vitality. I want your life to be amazing grace. And the second thing I want is for this parish to be a center for that spiritual vitality that reaches beyond our borders, the normal bell tower light that we now cast. In all these conversations that went on for months and thought even before that, came up with a threefold plan. And the first is spiritual life inventory, the second is spiritual vitality house churches, and the third is Easter conversation and Pentecostal plans. And let me just take those one at a time. The spiritual life inventory. If we have your email, this went out to you on Friday. And I know that some of you have taken it. I got an email yesterday from Jill telling me how many of you have taken it. The spiritual life inventory is a questionnaire about your spiritual life, and to some degree about how your spiritual life interacts for the good or for the not good with your parish church. I actually thought it was kind of fun to take. These were not day-by-day questions. I mean, I don't usually walk down the street and have somebody ask me about what the Eucharist means to me. It takes about 20 to 25 minutes. It's for everybody over 16. Your answers are anonymous and confidential. You don't receive a grade. You don't get done and they send you back and go, ooh, C+. Okay? Not at all. Okay? And this is written for Episcopalians, but it's part of a larger study in which about 2,000 churches have done. 500,000 Christians have participated in this. And I know we say 100 Episcopal churches. That's older data. It's more than that now. If you don't have this in your email, tell Jill, call the office, but you got to do it by February 18th, okay? I hope you'll do this, because if you do this, you're doing something for yourself and you're doing something for your parish. Because we're going to get tabulated results that say, this is where the parish is. This is where the people are. The second thing I hope you'll do is I hope you'll sign up for one of the spiritual vitality house churches. Shockingly, I'm in my 10th year here. I said to Jennifer this morning, I think when I started, I had a full head of hair. And I stood here and I said, we need to come together and do Maranatha house churches and do a master plan with 6 M's. And we did, and it changed the life of the church. It changed many people's lives. And so 10 years later, I'm telling you, don't take a pass. Sign up for one of the spiritual vitality house churches. It's just 5 sessions during the 5 weeks of Lent, and it has a chance to supercharge you and supercharge our parish. This is an opportunity for holy conversation. You may chat before you begin, but you're not going to chat once you start. Meditation, brief reflection on the scriptures, and I'm just going to give you a sense of it. Here are the questions. You ready? What does it mean to be spiritually vital for you and for the parish? Each session has questions for you and for the parish. The second question is, what's the mission of your life? And does the mission of your life have anything to do with Jesus' mission and our parish mission? The third session is, where are you now? How spiritually vital is your life right now? And how spiritually vital is the life of the parish? The fourth session is, where do you want to go? Where do you think Jesus is calling you? And where do you think Jesus is calling all of us? And the fifth session is, how might you and we get there? How, in the power of the Spirit, might you take steps in your life to be more spiritually vital? And how, in the power of the Spirit, might we as a parish take steps to help you, to help all of us grow in spiritual vitality? I am often asked, I love this place, what can I do? And I'm just telling you what you can do is take the spiritual vitality inventory and join a house church. The process is part of the product. If we follow the steps, this has the gives us the opportunity to have you have a more spiritually vital life and for us as a parish to have the same. And the third step is what I call Eastertide conversations and Pentecostal plans, and that is that in Eastertide we will discuss all that pours out of the inventory and all that pours out of the house church conversations. We'll write it on the walls in Morrill Hall, and then we will begin to make plans so that we together might be more spiritually vital. This is not a strategic plan. This is, we're going to make plans after we have discerned what is in our heart. We do know that the conversation, the Eastertide conversations, isn't just going to be, boy, I really need someone to tell me how to pray. It's also going to include about parish outreach. We need to have a conversation about outreach, and I know we need to have a conversation about property and the proposed Center for Ministry. These will all be part of that time. 2017 was a year of incredible fruitfulness for us as a parish, and in 2018, I have no doubt that it will be a year of amazing grace, right? So, today, you can take your spiritual life inventory. You can sign up for the Spiritual Vitality House Church. Come next Sunday. One of the spiritual disciplines is celebration, and we are going to celebrate and say goodbye and thank you to our beloved maestro, B.P. Thomas. So come and celebrate in the power of the Spirit the generational difference that B.P. has made in our life together. Then I hope you'll come the following Saturday, and we're going to gather to say a final goodbye to Mother Ann Richards, who moved so many of your hearts during her 5.5-year tenure here as an associate clergy person. And then in the spring, 35 of us are going to go on a pilgrimage in the footsteps of Francis. Those of you who've been on a pilgrimage, you know it changes your life, straight up. We're going to call new clergy, which is going to be very exciting. We're going to call a new director of music ministries after we have discerned from the congregation and from the choirs what it is that we want. And then I can tell you that we're going to do some things that I have absolutely no idea what we're going to do. Because the Lord is moving in our midst. And when the Lord moves in our midst and we listen with discipline, we're going to do something that is going to make our light so shine.